Android Authority, what's going on? My name is Kevin, the Tech Ninja, and today I'm reviewing the Galaxy A5. Now guys that live stateside, I know what you're thinking. I don't care, this phone's not coming over here. But let's think about something for a second. The Galaxy S6 is just around the corner, and Samsung has been known to try out new things on their other devices. So the way that this is made using aluminum versus plastic, and also the way TouchWiz is running on the system. Make sure you check out the review anyways, so you can see what the S6 may have in store for you. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Welcome to my dojo. It seems that the #1 complaint about Samsung's design is their use of plastic. Samsung's Galaxy line was created to be the flagship device to have, but for some, the use of plastic made it feel, well, pretty cheap. Enter the Galaxy A5, light, sleek, and aluminum. The moment you put it in your hand, you instantly get that feel of premium that Samsung has been searching for. Although it's mostly aluminum, the A5 is really light, only weighs 4.34 ounces. On the front, you'll find the classic Samsung layout with front-facing camera and LEDs on the top speaker grille. At the bottom chin, the back and multitasking capacitive buttons are flanking the home button. Samsung likes this layout and they're sticking with their guns on this one. On the back you have the 13 megapixel shooter, which is located towards the middle, and the camera is accompanied by the LED flash and also the speaker grille. The speaker grille is in an awkward location. It often gets covered up when holding your device in landscape. This location also makes the sound lack depth and sense of direction. Speaker calls sound fine, but when listening to music or gaming, that's when you can really hear the disadvantages of only having one speaker in that location. A great example is when listening to music that uses left and right channels independently, you are stuck hearing both channels coming out the same spot, which can dramatically change the sound of a song. On the right bezel you have the power button and also 2 SIM card slots. Left side is the volume rocker, and at the bottom you see the charging port and also headphone jack. The screen size is 5 inches, which gives it a screen to body ratio of 71%. This Super AMOLED LED screen's PPI is 294. The resolution is 720p. Colors pop off well with this display with very high saturation levels. Even if the color temperature is a bit too vivid for you, you can easily adjust this in the display options within the settings. And what I mean by vivid is that a lot of the colors has an additional punch to it. It's a color style that Samsung has adopted and matured over the years, and is working pretty well for them. The engine that makes this whole operation run is the Snapdragon 410. It's a 64-bit quad-core processor that runs at 1.2 GHz. The GPU pairing is the Adreno 306 and 2 GB of RAM. It does have a micro SD card slot that you can expand up to 64 GB if 16 GB on board isn't enough for you. And as I mentioned before, it does have dual SIM card slots, so for people that travel internationally often, this is a huge bonus for them. And get used to these specs. Most mid-level devices will be running this chipset in the foreseeable future. The hardware isn't going to shake up the world, but it's a decent mid-level offering from Samsung. The Snapdragon 410 absolutely flies. Opening and closing applications is done effortlessly, and as far as the UI is concerned, it's comparable to the Snapdragon 805. In 2015, handling the UI is a pretty simple task for these phones to do, so it isn't really a big surprise. I know a lot of people like to mention the TouchWiz lag, but on this device, I'm not seeing it. TouchWiz appears to be more watered down and not so much in your face. But more on this in the software section. When it comes to gaming, the 410 and Adreno 306 combines to give you a decent gaming device. Most games run with little lag. Even switching between games and back to your home screen is quick. The phone's performance is just solid. The 64-bit architecture is here and is running well. But we won't see 64-bit really shine until we see the phones with 4 GB of RAM. For the full benchmark scores, make sure you check out the written companion piece linked down below. Out of the box, it is running 4.4.4 KitKat. And as you know, it's running TouchWiz, which is a highly modified skin on top of Android. For better or worse, TouchWiz is most people's introduction into Android, and it does a great job at getting you acclimated. But for purists like me, or maybe you'd rather have a more vanilla version of Android, or at least an option to switch from TouchWiz to that. The home screen by default has 3 screens. You can swipe left and it takes you to Flipboard. You can also swipe right, that takes you to your other page. Or you can press and hold for more home screen functions like widgets, icons, and settings. Shockingly enough, there was no bloatware on this device at all. I mean, you'll find a few Samsung applications on board like My Files, Flipboard, Voice Recorder, and S Planner, but I didn't see any other type of trial software, maybe because this isn't locked down to a carrier. A lot of times carriers are the ones that actually add to the bloatware. Comparing this to the S5, all the applications that are on this device is running the same version. Messages, browsers, My Files all look and behave the exact same way. The headlines as of late is that Samsung is trying to make the S6 more like a stock version of Android. And my takeaway from this is that Samsung is considering a slimmer TouchWiz and providing their applications a la carte. And this is something that I'm pretty excited about. For some people, the camera on the phone is one of the most important features to have. Samsung realizes that and provides one of the best cameras on a smartphone. The A5 brings a 13 megapixel shooter to the game. It's extremely quick and provides very clean images. Now for a mobile device, the depth of field on these images are pretty good. This gives the subject the ability to stick out of the background. In good lighting, images appear bright and vivid with a lot of life to them. In lower lighting scenarios, images still come out pretty good, but there is a bit of grain to the images and sometimes they lack color. But beyond that, it's one of the better low light cameras. On the software side of things, it has less features than the S5. There are only a few shooting modes available on this device. You can head into the Samsung store and download more shooting modes, although there are only 2 extra ones in there. The front-facing camera is 5 megapixels. Just like the S5, the images lack detail and color. It's due to the size of the lens. It does not let a lot of light into the lens, so that means the software needs to compensate for that. Also, beautify mode is on by default, which can make your skin look like rubber if you're not careful. You can also go to additional settings by sliding out the menu from the right, and things that are in there are like white balance, ISO settings, voice activated pictures, and even hand gestures, which makes taking selfies a whole lot easier. The camera lens on the back protrudes out a little bit, so that means the A5 does not sit flush on a surface. Thankfully, it does not rock. It's well balanced, so that's pretty good. Although this camera is only 13 megapixels, it feels just like the S5's 16 megapixels, just with less shooting modes. Images are on par with each other, and the shutter speed is just as fast. My parting shots with this device is pretty simple. It's another good Samsung device. It's mid-range, but it's running the newer Snapdragon 410 64-bit processor. It's a watered-down version of TouchWiz from the past, so the device is pretty quick. And it comes with tons of free space. Camera takes quick shots, and for the most part, the images are pretty good. If you don't need top-end specs and a high-resolution screen, and if the price is right, you should really consider this phone. And there you have it, guys. That was the review for my Galaxy A5. Now before you go, make sure you check out the written companion piece down below, because I can go into a little bit more detail than I can in just a small video. As always, guys, my name is Kevin the Tech Ninja. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to Android Authority for more great videos and giveaways, because we are your source for all things Android. Take care, guys.